Hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in. We are All Essential Zoom call. Today we'll be discussing specifically the implementation of Vax passes across many provinces in our beautiful country of Canada. We are personally, myself and Samantha, Managing Director of All Essential, we're located in Vancouver. The BC Health Pass supposedly will be rolling out on Monday, the 14th of September. However, we have some recent updates, and let's see if that even is going to take place. The purpose for this Zoom is to empower Canadians, primarily business owners, but again, the mindset that we would offer for you guys all to have is that we all can be empowered as Canadians first, and then if you're an employee, you want to know about your rights, and if you're a business owner, you want to know about your rights, and if you're a customer of any businesses, you want to know about your rights, right? So coming from the mindset that we all can be empowered and take a stand for freedom, which again can unite us all. There's many different differences we might have in terms of our backgrounds, our religious beliefs, etc., and obviously our choices that we're taking. Masking, not masking. Participating in different medical experimentation or not. Ultimately, we should respect everybody's freedom of choice, and that's what really can unite us, and that's what we stand here today. I'm just going to introduce Samantha for a couple of minutes, and she can share some of the legislations that I'm going to be talking about with you guys, but ultimately kind of drawing a point that it all's going to come down to us taking a stand. Yes, we can have different legal frameworks to assist ourselves in taking a stand. And at the same time, what I can tell you is there's never going to be a golden ticket or silver bullet, whatever thing you want to use. It always going to come down to us uniting non-compliance, taking a stand together, because if you think about it, this is not the first time they tried to make segregation legal. In fact, it was legal a few different times in the history, right? So we all know how that ended. And we also know in the history that anyone who was trying to implement segregation were never on a good side of the history, right? So keeping all those things in mind, we'll do our best to empower you with a legal framework, but we have to understand that what these governments are trying to impose is definitely illegal. And they're going to try to make it legal, but it doesn't make it for us to comply and obey with that regulation. Samantha?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the most important things to know here is, as much as we'd all love a magic bullet, there isn't one. We're in uncharted territory. I've been scouring the internet for any and all acts, provincial, federal, that can support us. And there are some that we can certainly refer to, but this is very much uncharted territory. And even, I came across many instances, when it comes to, for instance, human rights code and stuff like that. They literally in the fine print say this has yet to be sort of taken to court. Like we don't have the precedent yet because it's a new area, a new segment of the population that is being discriminated against. I will say I checked so I'm in BC, and as Vlad mentioned, September 13th is when they're rolling out the first stage of this vaccine identification, and as of 5 minutes before the call, there was no public health order referencing this. So they are definitely relying on, just business owners complying because they don't have the information. Like they're coming from a place of not knowing. And
here it is, just here. Sorry.
No problem. If everyone could just mute, that would be great.
Yeah, there's no framework. That's what Samantha's getting to, is that all the press conferences that took place, both in BC and Ontario, there's no legal framework to actually back anything that they discussed, right? So at this point, as unrealistic as it might seem to some, but please, I mean, what has not been realistic in the last 18 months, they're literally, the government there is, playing a chicken game with us, the people, right? They literally made something out of nothing and then threatened people, and now they're going to see who's going to be coerced in compliance where they have nothing. There's no foundation, there's no in place framework to justify that. Now, are they going to release something last minute for BC specifically on Monday morning? Maybe. However, we actually have so Sam, do you want to show Kip's first stuff, and then we can talk about different legislation? Maybe let's do that way.
Absolutely. And just a disclaimer here,
Yes.
We are learning as we go. We are not lawyers. As we mentioned, there's no precedent here. So this is not meant to be legal advice, okay? But we will certainly share many insights that will support you and empower you to take a stand.
Yeah.
The magic bullet is mass united noncompliance.
Yes.
Okay. At least for the time being, until we
Yes.
can take this to court and set some new precedents.
So on the conversation of the court, we have a Canadian Society of Advancement of Science and Public Policy, and the shorter version for the same website is actually suboni.ca. So if people forget this whole long name, just go to suboni.ca and you're going to be directed to this page for this nonprofit that they filed a class action for specifically BC on January 26th. And there's a court date already been established for the next year. And in the meantime, in spring, they created a cease and desist letter for businesses that were infringing on the rights of Canadians in BC, specifically British Columbia. And now we have just literally today urgent announcement that they will be actually, as the update states, we're going to be filing an application to put a pause or stay for this implementation of Vaxxport. Now this is happening this Monday. We're going to be organizing a protest in support to apply extra pressure on the court system. But this shows you that we actually taking the real steps within the legal framework, as much as we organizing everybody in united on compliance as well. So this is something that's happening last minute. This is very exciting. Even though this is about BC, we obviously understand this will impact every single other province across our country. Okay, guys? So my suggestion, if you don't know about this organization, definitely check out the website, understand the real legal work that's been taking place. There's a lot of things that are out there, but this is the one that actually been consistently delivering results in a short time. Filed only in January of this year, and already a lot of success in terms of applying pressure, specifically on the BC government and any other organization within our province.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to speak a little bit to the Human Rights Code?
Yes.
Okay. So the document's quite lengthy. This is actually a really great summary when it comes to some of the, the segments of the population that are protected under the Human Rights Code. Now, as I mentioned, this medical aspect is a little bit of a new territory. And so, but what I wanted to share is that basically, the common, where is it? So that, the common ones are sex, gender, that's the same thing. Sorry, gender, race,
religion,
yeah. Right? Medical, physical, mental disability, etc.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is, here at the bottom, they talk about, this is, however, as the guidance, I'll highlight it here, does not have legal effect. It remains to be seen how it will influence the Human Rights Tribunal and our courts in deciding discrimination claims relating to vaccination status policies. Okay, I tried to get on the phone with the Human Rights Commission. Now they are overwhelmed with calls. Get on, everybody.
Obviously, yeah.
Right?
Keep calling, guys.
And so they are actually referring everyone to actually call the Provincial Health Officer's office, which I did as well. And of course, left a message. I have not heard back yet. But just so you know, yeah, this is a gray area, right? There are many people who cannot, take the injection for medical considerations. There are many people who will not take the injection for religious reasons. Now I know that the province here has said, no exemptions, but this could still be, certainly there's room here for official complaints and that to be, this code to be expanded upon.
And ultimately, in every different province, we do have a framework to make sure that we don't get that there's a consent being placed. Like there's always has to be consent to any procedure that's going to be on you, right? So there's informed consent in Ontario, which is a very comprehensive one, and then the BC one has similar one, not as a fully comprehensive. But the point being is that informed consent is something that we all applicable with. And before even we go there, the main thing that we all really should be able to stand the ground, or definitely stand the ground and then push ourselves forward, is privacy. Privacy law is very, very crucial. We have a federal framework legislations that protects privacy of all the information that's related to us personally, obviously medical one included. And then there's a provincial one for many different Obviously, every province has their own provincial privacy legislation. So meaning that I would not even engage discussing with anyone your vaccination beliefs or vaccination status. It's none of their business. In fact, privacy law protects that, right? So if you go into the gym, which I will go to the gym here in Vancouver on Monday with Samantha, we part of the same gym, and we're going to live stream it. And literally me walking in, if you're going to say anything about anything, I'm sorry, it's a private medical information. I'm not going to be disclosing anything. I'm not getting into any debates at all. You just have to stop them at the door, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Do you want me to show the example for BC?
Sure.
Or for,
Sure.
Let's see. So like Vlad was saying, there's a federal level and there's also for each province. So here's the example. You can look at this is a great website, canli.org, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're gonna find all of these acts. What else do we have here? You know, this, like Vlad was saying, you know, we still have bodily autonomy, as much as they're trying to convince us that we don't. But we do. And so
and just goes to show again, like they all just puppets. These governmental bureaucrats, appointees, they're just puppets, right? With strings attached to them, like, and they make no sense at this point. Like Horgan literally said, the premier of BC, he said this new Vax pass is not taking away any rights from the unvaccinated. It's just giving more rights to the vaccinated. Huh? What? Like, but it just goes to show that these people are just trying to pull anything they can. There's no legal framework for any of this in Ontario or BC. BC should have something. It's literally happening on Monday, and there's nothing. But at this point, with KIP's organization and this injunction that's going to be filing on Monday, the plan is to either stop it completely or at least pause it. And imagine the embarrassment of a premier tried to explain to the media on Monday why they're not rolling this out, because they're actually in court. Right? We'll see what happens. Like, I mean, again, this is all happening in real time, guys. I was on the phone today all day, answering 3 calls at the same time. You just have to do what you can. And yeah, so long story short, if I can summarize a little bit, and then let's see if we can show the police call to action that kind of all ties together. The first very important thing is privacy, right? We all can stand on our privacy, and we're not going to be engaged and discussing anything that's private medical information. And this is relatable to all across the country, right? Step number 1. Step number 2, on the back end, if you want to file a complaint with whatever happens, everyone should file a complaint with the local provincial human rights commission. Everyone, they need to get flooded with complaints. Okay, I don't care what they say in terms of the statements, whether they gonna manage it, not gonna manage it. Let's do our part and file the complaints. They exist for a reason, right? That's number 2. Number 3, ultimately, no matter what legal framework they will try to implement, it's still unlawful in the sense of no segregation is legal, right? Like it was in the history, it was legal, but it was not right. So come from that standpoint. Even if you try to make something legal, it's still not right. And we should never comply and obey, because ultimately, even us as adults, maybe we'll be able to navigate this, but we need to understand the agenda is to make it permanent, and I'll explain why in a moment. And that's the future of our children. You will literally have an opportunity either to put our children into enslavement or take a stand so that doesn't happen. In Ontario, they already announced it even last year, and they're rolling out by the end of this year. They're going digital with driver's license and health cards in Ontario. And it's all going to be tied to your vaccination. Okay, which also going to be tied to you getting any type of income from the government or whatever else you might be wanting. And that's part of the social credit system. And again, we know that's where it's all leading to, right? So we cannot, this is pretty much the last stand for us. We cannot cross anymore. Like this is literally where we draw the line, and we take a stand hard. It's private information. We're definitely going to file any complaints to human rights provincially, whatever local to us. And ultimately, it's united not compliance that enough people saying no and just using the services regardless will make a difference. At the end of the day, these businesses don't want to do this, right? They had enough time managing the masking exemption that we are all, definitely impacted. right? And that's kind of, in my opinion, it almost backfired on these globalist agendas, because they tried to do the masking to kind of train the businesses to force the vaccine. But what they didn't realize, we're going to use it to train us as a resistance, as well as educate the businesses about that they should not be participating in any type of discrimination and segregation. So it actually worked in our favor. We built a tremendous foundation for the last year and a half. As much as some people say we don't see much results, guess what? Before you build a house, you have to dig a big hole, and you build a foundation. And you cannot see a foundation above the ground. But we've literally been doing it for the last year and a half with everyone combined, with all the different movements, with all the different initiatives, all the notices of liabilities, and educating the businesses and empowering the businesses to join with All Essential and many other organizations. So then united, they can be stronger and empowering each other. All that laid a foundation to where we're here today, where people are literally ready to take a stand, ultimately for freedom, because that unites us all.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, businesses can't afford to lose any customers right now. They've been locked down to varying degrees this whole time. And, you know, it's not in their interest in any way to enforce this policy. It's not in your interest. I'm speaking to a lot of business owners here, I'm sure. So, you know, the more we can show our support of those who are not going to comply, and the more we can put pressure on those, you know, or at least empower those who are, you know, feel like they don't have another choice, you know, show them that we have they have our support. That's crucial. The more we can build our network in the next couple of weeks, you know, it's going to be powerful. I want to show, you know, when we talk about, we always go back to the Bill of Rights as well. You know,
Thank you.
A reminder. Hold that up here. Sorry, the bar keeps dropping down on my Zoom recording. Go away. All right, let's go here. So the Bill of Rights. You know, this is at the federal level. But once again, you know, with oh gosh, where is it? Come on. Let's try that again. There we go.
There you go.
Expand that a little bit here. But you know, take those tickets. If you know, they've only mentioned it loosely in like a news article about fines, but take the ticket, and you know, let's flood the court. The courts are already flooded. Let's flood the courts. They won't be able to justify this in court. I mean, this is.
And the reality in terms of the tickets, so if you do manage any tickets, which I'll be very surprised, because nobody wants to be doing this work. Like nobody wants to enforce the segregation, right? In BC, Horgan specifically said that he encourages businesses to call police to enforce this. Although we're gonna show in a second the call to action that we want to actually make police to take a stand for the right side of the history. However, when the same question was asked of Ford in Ontario when he did a press conference last week too, if it was going to be an enforcement or how's it going to go about, he actually never answered that question because he can't. Because when he tried to coerce police departments to do unlawful road checks in Ontario in spring, 38 out of 40 police departments made a public statement that they're not going to participate in illegal road checks across the province of Ontario. So we know the police doesn't want to do this. At least half of the force all across the country, definitely on the right side of the history. And we're going to show after this a call to action that we're making. But specifically about Bill of Rights, you can see you have inalienable rights. Bill of Rights was signed in 1960. And I am personally working to make sure that we can have a national referendum to make this our constitution. Because the charter was signed by Trudeau Sr. And the first paragraph in the charter talks about reasonable limitation to our freedoms, and that just makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. I need to stop sharing in order to show. Let me know if you guys can't see the screen.
We can see the screen now. We see you opening Telegram. And then, do you want to show the marketing? Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
The police are already pushing back, saying we should be the last resort. Can you see the slides?
Yeah, we can see. So this is, guys, this is on our Instagram. This is a beautiful slide presentation that was already posted. And this is talking about exactly what we need all to do. Everything that the government is doing is unlawful, like literally, because there's actual process to make something a law. Mandates are not a law, requirements are not a law, right? So we got to go with this. And this is really call to action to everybody on this call right now, plus watching replay later. Everyone, please encourage every single person in your family, in your organization, in your coworkers, whatever, neighbors, to call police and ask them to make a public statement that they're not going to be participating in segregation enforcement. Right? We have examples already with airports in Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, where they tried to do the segregation for the airport specifically, and the amount of people that called and complained, they took that down a few months ago, right? So we know we have a power. Even today, there's a great example. There was a Oxygen yoga studio that was going to already try to implement segregation early on. And because we organized a protest in front of their place and somebody went and educated them, they took the sign down. So it shows you that we, the people, have a power as long as we act, organize, and coordinated in efforts. So and then there's actually a little script, Sam, you didn't show. The next slide was a little script when you call police, what to say, right?
Oh, I did show that. I guess it didn't show up on the...
maybe I got distracted. So, but yeah, guys, if on that slide, if you're on Instagram, if you're not even sure what to say, it actually, we wrote like a little script for you. When you call the police department, you know what to say. So if you lost for words, we even have like a little blurb for you what you can read and ask police to make a statement, okay?
Mm-hmm. I want to mention for those that are, employees, I know there was some concern around that as well.
Yeah.
I want to point out that on our website, we do have some fantastic notices of liability that I can show you here. They're under the legal action section here, okay? Notices of liability. Action for Canada also has some great notices of liability. These two sites are definitely your go-to for notices. But yeah, you can just click on, and it applies like right here, places of employment, public school establishments, a lot of concerned parents out there, right? Business establishments, public service, servant accountability. And it applies to all of these issues.
So if somebody is not familiar with what's a notice of liability really means, is that you are informing someone that they are actually liable for something that they want to force on you or instruct you to do, etc. Right? So you're basically letting them know that because of their policies or their enforcement or whatever they're trying to do, they're going to be liable if something's going to happen to you, to your child in school, etc. So you're basically putting them on notice. That's what means notice of liability, that they're going to be liable, and you're putting them on notice so they now know that if anything happens, and the reason for that is once somebody understands that they might be personally responsible themselves, they're going to back off most of the time, because nobody wants to be personally responsible for hurting someone or potentially worse situations. But until that happens, most people don't understand. They think the government is responsible. The government washed their hands a long time ago. That's why they're letting the businesses do the dirty work for them, because there's no legal framework for them to do this. Mm-hmm. And again, we have examples in history, including Nazi Germany, where the government was forcing the businesses to do the dirty work for them, right? So this is not the first time that this is happening. In fact, this is like a script that has been rolled out too many times at this point.
Mm-hmm. And I sort of mentioned there is a video at the bottom of that page too that explains how to go about using those notices of liability. So it's a full instructional video there for you. This is a poster that we created that we would like to get into as many businesses as possible. It's very much about upholding the Bill of Rights, respecting privacy laws, and not participating in discrimination or segregation. So you can actually download that from our site. It's under the events section. It's under the downloadable section, which is under business resources here. Downloadable.
And then print it up and put it if you're on front door, put it at the front desk, put it anywhere. Mm-hmm. Put it everywhere, because people need to know that, again, this is something that, even if they try to make it lawful, doesn't make it right. And ultimately, it's up to us to be united in our stand and to be on the right side of the history.
Mm-hmm. All right. Was there something else I was supposed to show, or are we good there? I think we covered.
What else? Yeah, we covered quite a few things here. So the other thing that I was going to mention, since everyone's on the call and whoever's going to watch the replay, the City Hall Wednesday rallies that we launched last Wednesday It was a success in terms of we had people showing up at many different locations. We're still looking for some of the leaders to take a leadership position at some of the locations, as well as if you want to add new locations. What we know is that we're on the right track for a few reasons. One is the media is talking about this process because they know they're going to be weekly. So they understand we're going to keep applying the pressure, and this is not just one-off thing. Second of all, there's one mayor in Ontario already from one of the townships that actually taken a public stand against Vaxxport, right? So we're going to organize a rally on Wednesday in support of that mayor, still at the City Hall, right? The other reason why we're going to be sticking to City Halls every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. is because we need to have consistency to build something, right? So, and then ultimately there's a lot of conversation that they might shut down the internet, or we're not going to be able to have a conversations or whatever, but everybody knows 1 p.m. every Wednesday, local City Hall, they're going to be able to come and they're going to meet other people within freedom movement, right? That's why we want to stay consistent and want to build this up. For the Ontario, for Toronto location specifically, I talked to Chris Weisdorf, one of our legal experts. He's going to be doing a training in Toronto this coming Wednesday and the Wednesday after that, specifically empowering even more different businesses and different people in terms of their rights to just say no. So if you want a little bit more legal framework, at Toronto rally, we'll have those. Vancouver, I'll be myself. In Mississauga, Teresa from Half Gym is organizing several speakers there as well. So we're rolling this out as a national initiative. If you would like to participate in some of the locations, please reach out to us. We'll connect you to one of the organizers. If you'd like to start in your own local City Hall, please do, because we need everybody to come on board and ultimately to hold local politicians, local governments accountable. And if they're not going to stand for the people, then we're going to replace them. It's simple as that.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for everybody who's contributing some additional details in the comments. Fantastic. Everyone is welcome to save the chat to have that as a reference. If you're catching the replay and you'd like the chat notes, I can provide that. So we have a few hands raised. I'm afraid I don't remember the order as I was sharing my screen. I believe Jay was first.
I think so.
Yeah. Jay, do you want to unmute and share?
Yep. Hi. Okay, so just going back to what you were saying about all the discrimination and stuff regarding the, I'm not even going to call it a vaccine, just a jab. As some of you know, because I put it on track previously, Jenny asked her doctor about it because she's allergic to some of the ingredients, and her doctor's response was, oh, we can give you antihistamines or rubber jabs to countermand any reactions you're going to get from it. That is so wrong, and that's from a GP. My thoughts being is that if a GP is not even going to support somebody who has had reactions even to the flu jab, what hope has anyone else got? So if you are worried about trying to get any medical exemption, I wouldn't bother. Just stick to your rights. Blatantly refuse it. You're not putting that crap in my body, and be done with it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay.
Yep.
By the way, guys, if you're not on the chat, there's a lot of great resources being shared there. So make sure you check it out. You can also save the chat before the Zoom ends. If you click on 3 dots, you'll be able to save the chat. So definitely recommend to everybody to do that. Yeah, thank you for everyone who's contributing different things in the chat. We definitely appreciate all that. Melanie, you have a question if you want to mute yourself, and then Maria will be next.
Hi, thank you. So when you were talking a little bit about the police, does that also include, like, I live in BC, so I know that on transit, if a BC transit office might give you a ticket, ideally on a SkyTrain, maybe not on a bus. Do you guys have information on your website on, like, how to speak to them?
Yeah, so
about, like, the mask situation, right?
Yeah. So in transit, same thing, exemptions apply as before. If you're in Vancouver, you can stop by at any rallies that I usually am. We have these info exemption cards. I can show you. It's based on a blue poster, which was designed by BC Human Rights. And literally, I walk around everywhere with this. And anyone questions me about the mask, I say I'm exempt, and I show this blue poster, which is on the BC Human Rights. And it's just a postcard size, so you can pick this up. And that's it. You just say I'm exempt, and you can show this card, and it works pretty much every time. And if you do end up getting fined still in any situation, guys, never pay any fine. Always dispute them to court and just go with the process. Either it's going to be thrown out, it's going to be delayed 2 years later, and that's it. But treat all these tickets as administration fines, as like a parking ticket. You definitely want to challenge it. Otherwise, you assume to be guilty by not, challenging it. So yeah, if that answers your question, Melanie.
Yeah, but I'm not technically medically exempt. It's just my decision regarding like my health and not wanting
Well,
to wear a
again,
mask.
if the reality is, if you have any difficulties breathing in a mask, you exempt, right? The exemption doesn't have to be a physical one. The mental anxiety is the real exemption that obviously a lot of people don't want to think of in terms of if that's really legitimate. It is, and that's it. So the point is, we are all exempt if you believe that mask inhibits, your daily activity, right? And the reality, it is like mask is a medical procedure, because if it alters your heart rate, which it does, it's a medical procedure.
Yes, it's always harder to breathe with a mask on. Okay.
And that's it. So you're exempt.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Another question. When you were talking about how you like to go to different businesses and companies and give them like little pamphlets or posters, are you encouraging them to basically not comply and go like saying no to masks, or it being optional, but obviously like no to having people?
So we encourage businesses to join We All Essential, because when they join We All Essential, they're actually going to have a dedicated account, almost like a mini university, for them to learn about the rights and freedom. Most business owners never learned about all of this stuff, right? They just started the business and that's it. So We All Essential has a platform to empower the businesses. And then we definitely offer different pamphlets to educate the businesses. And specifically, again, if you're in BC, the blue poster says right here at the bottom, I'm going to read: business owners cannot be fined for allowing people without masks to enter their place of business. And this is a basic misconception that most businesses think that they're actually going to be penalized for honoring the exemptions, where it literally states they will not be, right? And then the poster that Samantha just showed in terms of, we would love to see your smile, not your passport, right? So things like that, we definitely would encourage businesses to post in the door just to show that they stand for freedom. And ultimately, we want to tell the businesses to remind them that they signed up just to have a business. They didn't sign up to be an enforcer. This is not the business. If you're a restaurant, your business is to serve food and provide good service, right? If you're a barber, your business is to cut the hair and provide good service, right? So is that answer the question, Melanie?
Yes, because it's like when I go shopping at some, stores and they have, they follow what's going on and they're okay with it. But is there any way, I guess, if we're sharing these posters and information, we kind of encourage them, like, it's okay to say no.
So basically what usually good to do, and if you are somewhere local in Vancouver, we can team you up with somebody a little bit more seasoned, so you can kind of have a hands-on training, or maybe other places where we have some of the seasoned volunteers. But it's always good to come and speak to the manager, right? Because again, the managers a lot of times won't be even informed. And we have plenty of success stories where, Yvonne and a few other people talked to the management, and the managers were very happy to receive this information. And then they actually were able to adjust some of the policies and actually honor the exemptions with the masks in the past. That's why I'm actually very, glad that we had to go through the process that we had to go through in terms of, exemption with a mask, etc., because it prepared us, it prepared the volunteers, it prepared the businesses for what's going to be rolling out right now.
Okay, thank you. I might have questions later, but of course there's other people.
No problem. Thanks, Melanie. Maria, if you unmute yourself, I muted you back, so Sanchez.
Yeah, that was an accident. Sorry about that. I just wanted to let you guys know that people are coming to me in Courtney, and they're saying that when they're attempting to file their human rights complaint, they're being turned away because they are inundated. So they're not going to get a court date. They're saying you might as well just keep trying, and they're putting walls up now because they're so overwhelmed, which is great for us, but they're actually setting boundaries, which isn't good for us at the same time. So I just thought I'd let you guys know that.
Yeah.
And then
I actually would like to keep track of that, because this is just an extra pressure that we should be applying, that there's so many people filing complaints, that this many people being turned away, and that shows to you that this is a real problem and it needs to be addressed at the government level, right? So
my next question to that would be, Vlad, is how would we acknowledge that publicly so that we get some public attention, we make it a big thing and get some attention around that? How do we do that?
So I think what would make sense is to appoint someone who would actually keep a database of everyone who's been turned away from filing a complaint in BC and any other province, and we need to have those people voices heard one way or the other, right? If the Human Rights Commission is not able to keep up with the tremendous demand, and the only thing they're doing is they're turning people away, well, I'm sorry, either the commission is not efficient anymore, we need a new commission, or the issue at hand is a real issue that needs to be addressed and not put under the rug, and obviously the politicians in power just trying to plow through it, right?
Okay, so what we need to do is put a call out to everybody that's been turned away and get them to contact us and
start a database. Just start up a filing. We can figure out to do a simple form online that people can fill out and say that I attempted to file a complaint and it didn't work, and we can start building that up.
Sam, do you know how to do that? You know how to do that? Do you know how to do that? Because I don't. Go ahead. Yeah,
no, I know. We'll have to appoint somebody else. Sam has a full plate of stuff to do. Yes.
We'll make it happen. We will.
Okay, and then the other thing is that we were talking about the privacies. When this first came down, like last March, I started looking up the Privacy Act, the PIPA, and it's PIPA. Everybody can look it up. You just put it in, and the government site will come up, and you can look up the Canada site and each province, as well as its PIDA, which is the digital site. So it's for like our phones, computers, that kind of thing. So I just thought I'd put that out there. If you guys want to research it, it's fairly easy, and we have a lot of rights in there as well. Yeah, that's all. That's it.
Yeah, perfect. In terms of which industries are being forced, we got some information, I think almost a week ago now, that pretty much every single industry internally received the memos that all the employees will have to be jabbed to keep the job. The only one that supposedly did not get was the retail industry, but apparently any type of transit workers, financial, first responders, teachers, you name it, everyone got internal memos saying that the vaccination status will be connected to them still being employed. Now, if you put into that situation, please do not quit, all right? You have to come to the place that if they're gonna fire you, let them fire you, and then file the complaint with employee lawyer to get a compensation and package you out and all that stuff. Definitely don't quit unless it's like a small part-time gig and you just don't wanna manage the headache, right? Otherwise, stand your ground. There's a lot of a lot of employees being organized within Air Canada and many other places that they're gonna unite it, taking a stand and go on strike. Because at the end of the day, the union reps also being bought into pushing this narrative. Same way as all the business associations that exist prior to COVID, they all pushing the globalist narrative, and they only leaving astray the businesses. The restaurant association, the small business associations, all of them literally tell the businesses, don't rock the boat too much because the government's not gonna listen to us. And if you want me to find you some more money for your subsidies to help you with some bills, I'll do it. So they're literally, cooking slowly, as we say, these businesses, instead of empowering them to take a stand for what is right and ultimately preserve their business. I'm going to finish with this, and then we can have maybe a few more questions. But I've been saying this since day one, and I'm a business owner myself. The reason why I chose to be a business owner and not work for the paycheck, and if you do, there's nothing wrong about that. However, business owners by nature don't like to be told what to do, right? They always question the status quo, and ultimately they like to be in charge of their own life, right? That's usually who business owners are, right? And that's why by design, business class has been under attack since the very beginning. If anyone still thinks that the government is making a mistake or they're very confused about the policies, please wake up, okay? Like, it's crystal clear once you understand the agenda that everything has been done since the beginning is to literally dismantle the Canadian economy, and the business class, independent small business class, is the primary sector of our Canadian economy, right? So everything that's been done on purpose, because if you're able to silence the independent free thinkers, who primarily business owners are, then you will be able to have a tyrannical government, which exactly is uploading as we speak, right? And the way you would silence the independent free thinkers, you would economically suppress them. And that's exactly what's been happening, right? The whole concept of We All Essential started because the government decided to label corporations essential and independent small business non-essential. We literally had a woman, I forgot the name of her clothing store in Ontario, I think north of Toronto. Her store was not allowed to be open, but she could go to Walmart and buy exactly the same clothing. Think of this, right? And this is just one example of tens of thousands of businesses that literally disappeared. Samantha, correct me if I'm wrong, is it like 200,000 businesses across Canada went away, right? Something like that?
That's what they projected.
300.
They have not provided an actual
Of course we don't,
number, of
right?
course, right?
Same way as they're not providing the data of how many suicides took place in 2020. And trust me when I tell you, and this is not something I'm obviously sharing, but it's just the sad reality, is huge percentage of those suicides actually came from business owners. And I know personally several, because for them, that was the whole life. And then when the business went out, they just didn't see any more point in living, right? So we have to take this as serious as life. As business owners taking a stand, no matter what, uniting in non-compliance, yes, using some of the legal framework, but ultimately we have to make the calls to all the police to ensure that they're not going to enforce segregation policies. And that's how we need to ask them. Again, the script is there, guys. And as long as there's no enforcement, government can't do anything. Ford is not going to go and issue a ticket. Horgan is not going to go and issue a ticket. Tory is not going to go and arrest and shut down your business. If they don't have an enforcement, it's all done. And it's pretty much there, right? The government is very desperate at this point because they cannot contain the truth. The truth is coming out all over the place. And it's going to take us independent business owners primarily as a frontline freedom fighters, as a business owners taking a stand and just saying, no, everyone is welcome. It's not my business to do the segregation and enforce all this nonsense. Whoever is welcome to participate in my business, we need you. Again, the business has been under attack for all this time. And to finish off, in BC specifically, again, they haven't released any framework, of course, but we're talking about the regular restaurants will be non-essential, so then they have to have Vaxxpass implemented. However, the fast food restaurants are essential, so they don't have to have Vaxxpassport implemented. Like, again, like very clear, if anyone has any confusions, how this has all been rolling out and who's exactly is in charge and what's the benefit and who's the benefiting for this.
And if you're on this call as a business owner and you're not a part of our network, know that you're very much in good company. We have a number of support chats on Telegram. We meet up twice a week on Zoom. This is actually outside of our normal schedule. So, you're not alone. And, the more we grow this network, the more powerful we are. We really do need every business that's remotely awake to be taking a stand and not participating in segregation. This is truly the line we need to hold.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have Teresa. She's one of the leaders for Mississauga City Hall rallies. Again, one of the businesses that took a stand in April, stayed open, being essential, obviously. What a concept. The gym that provides health, mental and physical is essential for the health and mental health and physical health for the Canadians, right? So definitely, guys, do what you can. Show up at the City Halls 1 p.m. Every single Wednesday. Let's build this movement. It's perfectly geared towards in Alberta across the whole province. They're going to have municipal election happening next month. So this can be geared towards that as well. If anyone listening from Alberta to this replay especially, let's organize all the major city halls across Alberta, Edmonton, Calgary, and any other big cities or even small cities, doesn't matter.
Y has been dropping a number of great resources, and she or he had their hand up earlier and then took it down. So shall we go to them next and then?
Why is it Navon, right?
Oh, I don't know. Is it?
Yes.
Hello.
Go. Let the others go first. I'll just.
Sure.
Actually, can I say
something? Yeah, go.
Okay. I just wanted to reiterate about the police here in BC. Many have been at the rallies for many months, like since April of last year. And we can definitely say that the police officers here have been amazing.
Yes.
It really feels like they will not be enforcing this Vax Pass. Just in the conversations that we have with them at the rallies, and they're so sweet. They're always rooting for us. So many of us have been in touch with the VPD over the last 6 months, myself included, and with some really great responses. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt to continue to press, to write into them, to email them, because the more pressure, the more they know that the citizens are really interested and concerned in what's going on, the more impactful it is, right? And the VPD, they're all human beings too, with families and kids and teenagers and wives who have little hair salons. So, sometimes we put them out in another space or whatever, but they're just like us. So I'm grateful for the VPD. I think they've been amazing here in BC.
Amazing.
That's all.
Yvonne. Thanks, Yvonne. Annika, if you want to go next, unmute yourself.
Hey there. So I'm from Ontario. My husband and I are both unvaxxed. We're not business owners, but we do support businesses, especially the ones that are going to allow unvaccinated people to come to their restaurants and gyms after the mandates are implemented. So while we obviously want to support, we're also a little hesitant, and that being because when we enter these places, we know technically we're not supposed to be there. So our question is, how far can these tickets or
Yes.
how far can they go? Would we go to jail? Like, can cops,
Sure. So, so in terms of even the statement that you made, it depends how you look at it, meaning that, we're not supposed to be here according to whom, right? Again, like even that mindset, which I understand because of all the media and everything, how it's presented, it's unlawful. There's not even a framework. For Ontario, it's supposed to go into the effect on the 22nd, which is not that far away, and they still have no legal framework, right, for actual policies, right? And in terms of the going to jail, basically the only time things can escalate is then when you are shopping there, and the business owner tries to use a trespass against you, which is not applicable because you're just shopping there, right? And then if you refuse to leave, they can call the cops. And then if you refuse to leave when the cops are in there, that's when it can escalate. Now, the likelihood of that happening is very small. Is it possible? Sure. But it all depends how you conduct yourself. So as long as you stay calm and you're not being rowdy, you're not trespassing, you're going to whatever business to participate in there, right? So that's what I'm saying. But ultimately, this is where we making this call to action, especially before implementation, and especially for you guys in Ontario, you have still over a week for that. Would be very good to apply the pressure by phoning all the departments and demand, well, not demanded, but like putting a pressure on them to make a public statement that they're not gonna enforce segregation policies, right?
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the hesitancy. I mean, we
For
want
sure.
to obviously
It's
support. I just don't want to show up at a gym and then get a massive fine. And then if I
Sure.
do,
No, I get it.
is it
So
going to
again,
jeopardize our jobs? Like, you know what I mean?
so yeah, so again, the fine, if you do get a fine, which will be very unlikely at this point because there's not even a framework for you to get a fine.
Okay.
Again, any fines, you file them to court. And some people have several fines. I have a couple myself for participating in a protest. And it's just, they don't kill you per se, right? Like you don't die by getting a fine. But I do understand people want to be careful. And at the same time, you know, the fine is not the worst thing that can happen to us where we're all going to. Like in Australia, you cannot leave your house. You can't.
Exactly.
Right? Like as much as we still want to have a more careful approach to this situation, that was like a year and a half ago, you know, and that's the reality where we are right now. This is pretty much the stand that we cannot compromise. And I'm not asking for people to get extremely aggressive. However, we have to be very, very stern in our stand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Annika. Of course. Thank you. Carrie? One of the new volunteers, welcome on board. So good to have you.
Thank you. I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience for anybody that might be brand new. I'm still fairly new myself. So last Wednesday was my first We Are All Essential rally. And I feel like although the rally was very small and a little bit deflating, at the same time, what was really empowering was going to the businesses with the material provided and having them being so accepting and so open. Only one business out of 5 turned me around and said, like, no, we're going to be following, you know, the government guidelines. But I just wanted to share 2 things. First of all, I was shaking in my boots, guys, like the whole time.
Of course.
It's very nerve-wracking, but it's also very empowering when you walk out. Stay calm and keep your cool. Know that what you're doing is the right thing. You're not doing the wrong thing. You're doing the right thing. It's okay to put a little bit of pressure on these businesses. You know, a lot of people use the term manipulating. Well, they're being manipulated by the government right now. So it's okay if you want to like manipulate them a little bit because you're doing that for like the greater good. And also basic human psychology, the colors that you wear when you're walking into a business, there are different things, different colors that mean different things and that trigger people in different ways. So try to wear, think of a police officer who wears all navy blue or like a judge's robe, all black. These are people in positions of power. And right now you're in a position of power. So you want to make sure that you're dressing in a professional manner when you're walking into these businesses. It's fun to, you know, walk around in our like freedom clothes and stuff like that for rallies. But afterwards, like if you're going to a rally and you want to wear your like, you know, freedom clothing, that's great. But after, you know, just change into something a little more professional, and always have your papers ready in your hands when you walk into the businesses. I had such a great experience and I honestly can't wait to get back out there again. And I just wanted to thank you, Vlad and Samantha. Like, it's been such a journey and I've only been on board for a week. So I can't wait to see what the next coming weeks bring.
So good to have you on board and thank you for your dedication. And yeah, the Wednesday rallies, you know, was kind of put up, not necessarily last minute, but definitely not with a huge advanced promotion, but it was just a launch, right? So that's how I would love for you to look at Wednesday rallies. It was just a launch. We're doing a sort of grand opening this Wednesday, like a second one. Momentum is building up. And the reality is it's actually the third one that's going to be massive. I already see it's happening 100%, no question about it. So as long as we stay consistent and determined, and right in our approach, and I'm so grateful for your understanding and sharing that everything is making a difference, how you dress, how you communicate, how you approach yourself. I always say this, if we're able to come across from a mindset of impact rather than persuasion, we will be received a lot better and more effective. And by that I mean impact is just sharing information without trying to convince someone, right? Persuasion is you're all in it and you want to persuade them, want to convince them, you almost want to pull them to your side. And when you pull someone, they're going to push away, right? So it's very different dynamic when you're coming from a place of impact, empowering, and you're there for their behalf. This is the important thing that we said from the beginning. We All Essential is actually doing the work of all this business association, right? We actually there to protect the interest of the businesses, not to represent the interest of a globalist that ultimately paying those people, right? So do what you can. A lot of people, a lot of businesses eager to actually have someone coming in and actually protecting and respecting their interests and their business livelihood, right? So thank you for doing that. And more people like yourself doing this. This is how one person at a time, one business at a time, we can literally make our country great again.
I just wanted to add one more thing as well. If anybody on this call or watching this call at a later time has a small business, I have a small business myself, and it was a very nerve-wracking decision to post something that you won't be discriminating. There are different wordings that you can use, but definitely post it. The outpour of support was absolutely bananas. Like, it was so good.
Awesome.
And it actually brought more clients. So if anybody has a small business, definitely make that post, take that leap, and you'll be surprised at how many people are supporting you.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, Carrie. AR is next. If you want to mute yourself, I know you're new. Welcome to this call and to this initiative. If you have a question, comment, please go ahead.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
I'm actually here. I don't know if I'm screaming at you guys, so I'm sorry if I am.
You're good.
I'm here kind of on behalf of my mother-in-law, I guess I could say.
Sure.
We have a family business hotel with 2 restaurants and a coffee shop and a liquor store.
Okay.
And
in which province?
BC.
Okay, perfect.
So essentially what happened 4 years ago is that my father-in-law passed away, and then the biggest douche took over. And he loves COVID and everything all about it. And so it's been really hard for people like my whole entire family who is unvaccinated, and this guy upholding rules that aren't allowing the people who own it to go in. So I just want to know what I can bring to this guy, because he has convinced himself, well, honestly, he ended up in the ICU because of his health issues, but then they said it was COVID and then it was pneumonia, but not getting to that. Like, it's really frustrating. So I just want to be able to bring him something and be like, wake up, like, it's not okay.
So we have several resources which can definitely help someone just to even plant the seed of doubt in their mind, and that's how I would recommend, especially if it's someone like family dynamic or friend dynamic. Sometimes it would be helpful to have other people to present that information. In fact, there is a really good new initiative that just started specifically in BC that anonymously actually can email to whoever is in kind of lead position some information to help them open their eyes. So if you would email Samantha at wae2021@gmail.com, she can direct you to that resource. So that somebody actually started recently this initiative, which I think is phenomenal. They create infographics based on actual data provided by the government, which actually exposes the hypocrisy of everything that's been taking place, especially in BC. So this is a great resource. And again, even if you're not in BC on this call, this still can be helpful because again, what's happening in one province happening everywhere, right? It's just some provinces we have a little bit easier access to the real data and real information. And in some provinces, there's a lot more censorship and blacking out the data, or whatever you want to call it. If you can, obviously, when you reach out to Samantha privately, if you can let us know, what this business is all about, we can see privately how we can support you on top of that as well. I'm sure you want to keep things private for now, which I definitely respect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we have Rachel. If you want, unmute yourself, Rachel, and comment, question if you have for us, please.
Sorry, I was just eating.
Yes.
Okay, so on Monday, the mandate rolls out here in BC. And
possibly, we'll see. There's still nothing, right?
I know,
like I said,
Yeah,
10 a.m.
exactly.
I don't know if you jumped on now, but we were saying in the beginning of the call, 10 a.m. We're actually going to be in front of the Supreme Court here in Vancouver,
Okay.
filing an injunction to put a pause or stop to this Vaxxpass specifically for BC. So stay tuned for that. But go
I
ahead.
will, absolutely. So I've drafted a letter to my employer because they've said that we need vaccine mandates in order for me to teach. It's a conservatory. And I'm not going to quit. My colleague has resigned.
No. Okay. Yeah, please
but
don't.
No, I'm not. I want them to decide that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am wondering, first of all, should I hold off until Monday morning
Yes.
to find out what
Yes.
happens?
Yes.
And if it goes through, how do I approach this? I'm not totally happy with my letter. Like you said, give them information.
Sure. So my suggestion would be definitely hold off, especially if you're in BC, guys. Just I mean, it's Friday already, so might as well wait till Monday and see what happens. It's not 100% assurance that the application will be accepted on Monday, but we do have a time allotted for us to at least be there to present it. It really depends if we get a judge, whatever, right? But we are in process of taking real action to stop this as we speak. So wait till Monday, see what happens on Monday. If you're not sure about the letter, again, feel free to email wae2021@gmail.com. We'll be able to help you maybe suggest extra things to add to this letter.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Tom, and then Daniel after that. Tom, go ahead. If you can unmute yourself, comment, question. Thank you for jumping on.
Yes, good evening. First of all, thank you for everything you're doing. It's much appreciated. Thanks for giving direction. I am from Ontario, and you mentioned a few times during the call that there was no legal frame for what was happening. I mean, on either side. And in Ontario, we have Reopening Ontario Act, and a lot of the tickets are issued based on what that act says. So does that not constitute a legal frame for what's happening here, in your opinion?
No, not for the Vaxxpass.
The latest addition to it is that they're basically trying to download the onus of verifying employees' vaccination status onto the employers.
Yeah, and I think the extent that they're doing is they're saying the businesses must have vaccination policy. And that's probably an additional document, Samantha, I forgot to mention today. If you can make maybe a note, I'd like to print a simple page notice that business vaccination policy is not to discriminate anyone, right? So guess what? That can be your vaccination policy. That you're not doing any type of discrimination, segregation, right? So the government wants businesses to have vaccination policy, and you can literally say my vaccination policy is not to discriminate anyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Daniel, brother, how's it going, man?
Hey, how are you?
The purple wave, let's go.
Yeah, I know, man. It's absolutely crazy. Just to log in really quick. I was a little late to jump in there. Hey, you don't have to say sorry. I wasn't doing much anyway. So, but that being said, love what you guys are doing. Obviously, you know, you and I always see eye to eye, so I'm good with that. For anybody that's on here, I see there's still 32 people, give or take, on here. If you want to know what's happening in Ontario, anything with the People's Party, anything like that, I'm going to throw my email in the chat. So please grab that, reach out. We're always looking for speakers at our events for any of these Hugs Over Mass events that we want you guys to attend. Obviously, you guys support us. We support what you're doing entirely. So this is unquestionable support on both ends.
Where are some of the locations that you have going on? I think Sunday, right?
Yeah, so this Sunday we have 2 candidate rallies happening, one in Wasaga, which I'll be emceeing that one with our candidate there, which is Adam Minitel, and then we'll have another one in Aurelia after that, so later on in the afternoon in Aurelia, but that's with Stephen Mack, candidate for Simcoe North. We have a couple other candidates coming in, one from Brampton, and then we're looking to add yourselves into this as well. So we really need some Hugs Over Mass people to come out there and rally the crowd here. So
yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll drop a message in our network chat specifically with We All Essential, and maybe have some of the business owners come and speak, because that's going to be very timely. These business owners that took a stand before recently come and speak at these rallies, and then ultimately unite and on that conversation, if you know some of the candidates who are actually business owners, we would love to feature them on our We All Essential platform as featured story, a business owner that took initiative and actually standing up for freedom and actually participating now in the political structure, because we understand how important that is. So we'd love to kind of cross promote, so to speak, and give major spotlight to these business owners who now making a major sacrifice and then being a candidate to run in this election. So we'd love to do that as well for you guys.
Am I sending that directly to you then, Vlad, or?
So WAE 2021, which is Samantha email, and she'll forward to me if she needs to be, or we'll coordinate based on that.
Okay, I'll grab it from the chat here. I'll send that out to all my candidates. So
Please do.
For people that wonder here, I oversee 19 candidates in 5 regions. So of those, I think we have 4 or 5 self-employed business owners that are of that group. So I'll get you them going. But yeah, no, listen, like we anything that you guys want to do at our events, and I know that you guys see us on social media and you see whatever, don't be afraid to reach out and say, hey, I'm from Hugs Over Mass, I'm from We Are Essential, doesn't matter. Just reach out to every one of the candidates to say, we want to come and speak. That you're not intruding. You're not intruding. This is what we want.
Thank
so we are all in this together. This is not an ego thing for us.
For sure.
Most of our candidates are not politicians, and which is what we believe is a good thing. So we want all you guys to participate. Okay, so please just jump in on our chats, jump in on our posts, tell us what you want to do. We will more than welcome you to all of our events.
Wonderful. And on that note, I just want to mention, because again, many people will be watching this recording, please know that you can go and vote with no mask and no job. It's been cleared. Carrie Simpsons from 300K contacted Elections Canada to ensure there's not going to be any discrimination. People can definitely go and vote. We had one local person, George, I think, in Vancouver, they tried to give him a hard time. So I'm going to contact Carrie and then ask maybe to create like a little pamphlet that people can go into, like similar to this one, to Elections Canada, to election polling. And then if somebody does give him a hard time, just give him a notice that they're not supposed to be discriminating them or even questioning them. But on that note, everyone should go and vote in person. Do it before the 20th. 20th is the last day, of course. And we all know there's only one party that stands for freedom, and everyone else stands for tyranny. So the choice is very simple. Choose to be on the right side of the history, everybody. Thanks, Danielle. All right, so we just over an hour. Thank you for everybody for participating. Again, this will be posted. We do appreciate everybody sharing this. Share to all the groups. There's many business groups that started on Facebook. Please share this recording with them. Encourage everybody to join We All Essential. The platform is completely free. Obviously, we appreciate anybody's donating to the platform, so we can pay for the website, we can pay for different resources, materials, and some of the manpower that we have to utilize. Otherwise, it's completely free. The platform is a complete ecosystem of empowerment for businesses, and ultimately it's a network of business owners. Some of them were taking a stand all the way back in October for our freedoms, right? So that's what we've been doing since day one, uniting freedom warriors, part of the business sector, empowering them with information and ultimately strength for the community. And we just need to grow this because, again, united we're strong, divided we fall. So let's unite together under freedom of choice, which is, again, universal. And ultimately, we have to do it for our children and the future of this country, guys, okay? There's no more wishy-washy. There's no more being nice and polite. We still can be that, but again, we have to be stern and dedicated and not wavering anymore. Like, there's no more sorry and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you all very much for showing up, for asking your questions, for dropping some great additional support in the chat. Please go ahead and save the chat for yourselves. And of course, I'll be saving it when I compress this whole recording. So if anyone's on the replay and really wants to see the chat, I can help you out with that. But yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, guys, whatever rallies are happening on the weekend, frontline nurses organizing the rally for Mondays all across different hospitals, city halls, etc. I'm going to reach out to them, see if they want to move the protest to the courthouse. That will make sense for Vancouver. Otherwise, hospitals, I think, is a place to go. They want to make it more as a silent protest. So bring a flower, bring a card, make a difference in terms of discussing the real challenges and side effects and everything else people are experiencing with this. Otherwise, City Hall, Wednesday, 1 p.m., national initiative, rolling this out since last Wednesday and building it every Wednesday. Place to be, show up in your uniform if you are a first responder, transit worker, etc. Come and speak and bring people with you, because united we fall again, united we stand, divided we fall. So we have to unite everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a business owner, if you're a teacher, if you're a transit worker, first responder. There was a great protest in Calgary that took place with first responders. There's going to be another one happening in Toronto, I think on Monday. So there's a huge momentum wave, and everything should be leading towards national strike, which will probably be rolling out in a couple of weeks. And that's going to be the walkout Wednesday. So every Wednesday, once a week, we're going to definitely come together, and we have to keep doing this until this all ends. This government has to know that we're in business and we're not going to be wavering anymore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All
okay.
Right.
Love you all, guys. Stay healthy. Peace. And we always choose love. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Very quickly before you
Love
end,
you guys. Thank you.
before everyone goes, if you missed it, Southend Community Park, it's on 25 Poppy Drive in Guelph. Be prepared. I'm meeting there 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Wonderful.
I'm going to be there.
Wonderful.
So if anybody missed it, there you go. That's the address. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great weekend.